The training for ICT facilitators occur with on-site technical support. And then the program evaluation is assessed. We're talking about getting this started from January this month through June as phase 1. Phase 2 includes training and implementation of the ICT teams in instructional assessment and consultation. So it begins the implementation of this intervention process by ICT members. And this lasts from August. The training will begin for the teams, which very important, building administrators, principals, be involved in this from August through June of 2012. And the final phase is a continued implementation and the institutionalization. Basically saying, let's sustain this model. How do we keep it going so that it becomes part of the educational culture of each of these school buildings? And that is from September 2012 onward. The training cost for the first year is $10,000 per school. The second year, $4,500 per school, and the third year, $1,000 per school. These monies are available through the ERA funds, American Reinvestment and Recovery Act. It was accessible to many school districts throughout this country for the past, besides this year, 2 years ago. So we've had a large fund of money that virtually has gone untapped. So it is that ERA funds that we're using for this training, or proposing to use for the training to you all. And that money will be gone after this year. So if you have any questions, we can talk a little bit more about that too. Benefits of the ICT process. Results in greater achievement and behavioral outcomes for all kids. Provides a data-driven process, which is real for the new IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, scientifically proved interventions that work. Before we go to a special education evaluation, just as an aside, we have about 23% of our school district, of our student population, has an IEP or is a special education student. It's a lot. That's nearly a quarter. 1 out of every 4 kids has an IEP, is a special education student. When we had this in our district, those earlier years, the level and rate of referral for special education went down as the achievement went up. I saw the data myself at the ISD, in a kindergarten sample for each year. The achievement for kids went up. So that's another important benefit, I think, to this process, getting something in here. The solution is not always special education. It provides ongoing professional development. There will be training throughout these phases to provide achievement for students, to hone the skills of the teachers, of the administrators, all on the team, to inform parents of how they can help kids at school. It maximizes resources. Am I missing anything?
Well, what you brushed over was the collaborative problem solving, and I'm hoping that the people that are here to support you can kind of explain that a little bit about how much it did give legal support to figure out what was the best needs for a particular child in that building. You didn't have to be the teacher at that grade level to help that student because of the problem-solving strategies that they had in place.
I can speak to that. And it didn't have to be the special education teacher. Why I like this process so much is that teachers stopped coming to me as the magician, the magic person who can fix this child who has learning problems. We began to work as a team, and we collaborated, and the child was no longer Mrs. Kamuyu's child because she's the special ed teacher. The child was the teacher's child, and we worked together, and the teacher owned the child together with Mrs. Kamuyu. The child was a child, and whatever the child came with, we stopped looking at the child as deficient, but we looked at what the child can do, and what can we do to our instructions, with our instructions, to meet that child's need, not try to make the child fit into our instructional delivery. So that was the key thing for me, is that I was no longer that person, that one person. Okay, this child has an IEP. I don't have to deal with that child. Mrs. Kamuyu will deal with that child. And then it stopped so many referrals as well, because I get every year many children who are referred and end up not being eligible for special education. They don't meet the criteria, but they still have learning difficulties. And so I test them, and we meet with the parents, and it said, your child is not eligible. That child is still a student in the classroom. The child still has to learn. This helped tremendously. Nobody really, we don't want to label children as special. We want all children to succeed. And this, in all my years, and you can tell I've been teaching a long time, in all my years, this was one of the best things that I ever encountered.
Another great benefit of this ICT process is that it sets building norms for teacher collaboration. If I was to put in a request for assistance on a student, within a week, I would have assistance for that student. And it would not be somebody coming and doing something for that student. It would be somebody coming in and helping me to support that student. So it's directly related to the teacher in that classroom. And what I found so good about it was that some of the methods and some of the techniques to get right to that student's level, I could say, well, I have another student. I can do the same thing for that student and help that student, and maybe not have to take that student to the team. It could help that student as well as this one. It could be one-on-one. It could help a small group. Some of the techniques that you go over and that you think about and the ICT team brings to the classroom teacher is things that the classroom teacher can put into place almost immediately. And it could benefit not just one, but many in the classroom. It is a wonderful program to have.
No child left behind.
And in addition to that, this is not like many conferences or many trainings we go to. You go to it, you stay 5 or 6 hours, boom, you're done. You have no support. And that's over. This is ongoing professional development, because you're constantly working with your team, constantly collaborating. You're constantly being trained and supported.
A lot of the training is also with other facilitators and buddies throughout the county or throughout the state. So you're going to get input and feedback from a lot of other people in terms of what strategies you can use inside your classroom to help address the student learning. And so really what I want to say is, I think the benefit, what I've seen over the years, is that it really helped the teachers be more reflective in terms of what they use or what strategy they need to use to implement and improve student instruction. So really, if the teacher gets it, then the student automatically can get it. Okay.
It fits nicely into the redesign reform plan that we have in place. It becomes part of the professional learning community that we're trying to establish, and like Ms. Bogoski said, it sets the norm for the buildings, and that teachers know that they collaborate with one another. It's just, Willow Run for years and years have always been on cutting edge, and we just want to get back to that. We know that this program, this model can do that.
10 districts in the county. Willow Run would make the 4th district since the implementation back in 2003 using ICT. All right. We're talking about it reduces over-identification, and our teachers have beautifully talked about that. The special education referral rates going down. This is our own data from 2003 compared to 2004-2005 school year. Just also on that,